Salesforce Marketing Cloud developer group has been around for a little while. I think we started in 2014. And we've been here just to help people learn, share, and mentor Salesforce Marketing Cloud. If you'd like to find out more about the group, use the QR code you can see on the screen there, or just visit sfmcdg.org. When you do go to that link, you will find links to all the other Marketing Cloud groups globally. So it's a good place to just visit, find out what's happening, and learn a little bit more about Marketing Cloud. Oh, just before I do go on that, we've got a Slack group, a LinkedIn group with about 8,000 members. Slack's got about 300 members in it. And also, importantly, the Trailblazer group. I think we've got about 1,500 members in there. We try and get something emailed every week just to keep people up to date. LinkedIn, lots of sharing going on, engagement posts, questions every week about things that are interesting. Just trying to make it all a little bit fun to share and get together around Marketing Cloud. At our next meeting, I will be celebrating the sharers. So feel very awesomely wonderful to share your most favorite link with the group. And a great place to do that is on the LinkedIn. Just pop a post there and we'll surface it up. In June, we're going to be learning more about Automation Studio and Package Manager. We'll have the two product managers on both of those platforms talking to us about what's happened recently and also future releases and helping us to get a sense of more about what we can do with those platforms and what's planned for them. I'm certainly very interested in hearing more about Package Manager and how we can automate our workflows more with that. Between now and then, we'll be definitely asking for some questions. So looking forward to some very awesome Q&A around that. Now, Marketing Cloud Minute.
My answer is normally yes, please. There is a lot of potential here. In terms of the how, you could be falling into one of the two categories. One is you have access to Marketing Cloud account because you work for a consulting firm or a business that has Marketing Cloud. Please use that opportunity to get access and skill up in Marketing Cloud, play around with the platform, and develop your skills in that level. The other one is you don't have access to a Marketing Cloud account. Unfortunately, there is no sandbox for Marketing Cloud. So please find a company and work for them. I know a lot of people who have took a pay cut to get into this industry and now they're doing very well. If you have HTML, CSS, SQL, or server-side JavaScript sort of skills, your journey will be a lot easier. And use this platform, use community group like this, LinkedIn, to reach out to people and network and ask questions.
And really appreciate the community providing Marketing Cloud Minutes. Marketing Cloud Minutes are just a chance for everyone to have a quick say and share where they're share about their Marketing Cloud journey. Have a look at hashtag Marketing Cloud Minute for what people are sharing now and how to get involved. So next we're going to hear from Greg and Jason about their new book, Automating Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Jason, are you there?
I am here, yes. And
how did we go with Greg? Is he available and on board?
yes, he is on his way. He may already
Okay.
be here. There he is.
Yeah, there he is, and I'll make sure he's a presenter instead of host. Over to you guys. We've got just before we do kick off, we've got yourselves talking to the book, and we're also looking forward to hearing more from I'm going to pronounce their names completely incorrectly, Slim and Sturgeon, about what it means to stand up a Marketing Cloud account. So looking forward to some interesting learnings, guys, over the next, I guess, 40 minutes. Or yours. Now, I guess, would you like to share your screen or would you just like to talk to the book? I'm not quite sure how you'd like to proceed. Jason, and Greg?
Sorry, it was double muted. Yeah, if I could get screen share, then yes, definitely. On mine, it's actually grayed out, so I can't request it.
Okay, let's see what I can do about that. How's it now? Can you share now?
Nothing. Jason, do you have the option? I think you have the deck too. So if you can share, that might solve the issue.
I am unable as well, unfortunately.
Right. I've set as host. And you both got presenter mode on. Presenter host. Yep, you've both got those modes on. So are you able to share the link with me? I can share the link at this end if you like.
Sure. Yeah. Let me see if
Hey, maybe what I'll do is I'll stop sharing and maybe that'll release.
Yep, there it is.
Deck.
Yep.
Fantastic. Too easy. Learning all the time. Thanks, guys.
All right. Awesome. Can you guys see my screen now? Just to verify it's up.
I
Yep.
can.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. So first, I'm going to apologize. My voice is a little raspy, and I might have to go on mute for some coughs. I'm a little under the weather, so apologies up front on that. But I do want to say hello. For those that don't know me, I'm Greg Gifford, and this is Jason Hanshaw. We wrote a book titled Automating Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Together, we're going to some detail about what the book is and how it can help you along your journey into Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Before we begin into the book, though, I wanted to give everyone a look at who we are. So this is me, Greg Gifford. I've got over 15 years inside of the industry, meaning email marketing and digital marketing in general, with about 13 plus inside of Marketing Cloud. Excuse me. I'm Salesforce MVP as of 2019, as well as a Salesforce marketing champion since inception in 2019. I keep trading off with Adam Spriggs on top contributor in Salesforce Stack Exchange in relation to Marketing Cloud. I'm not sure who is number one right now, but one of the two of us is at the moment. I also have my own blog where I produce some content, Gortonington.com. I'm co-founder and managing director of How to SFMC. I'm the speaker, advocate, collaborator, and active community member in many different Marketing Cloud communities, and also am relied on as a subject matter expert for Marketing Cloud inside of some of the certification exams and things like that. Next up is Jason. So I'm going to introduce you, Jason, so you can. So Jason Hanshaw is a Salesforce Marketing Cloud subject matter expert that has worked in the cloud for over 8 years. He is a content creator and owner of his own blog, invokecreate.com, where he explores many opportunities on integration of Salesforce Marketing Cloud with third-party technologies. Before concentrating on Marketing Cloud, Jason was a web application developer and has worked many years on technologies that dovetail into automation and efficiencies of Marketing Cloud. Through this experience and his intimate knowledge of Salesforce Marketing Cloud, he has become quite proficient at integration via the APIs and SDKs. Jason is also an avid contributor on Stack Exchange and active in many communities inside and outside of the Salesforce environment. So now that you know who we are, it'll help with understanding why we wrote this book. So the next step is then, what is the book? So this book is intended for those who are knowledgeable in Salesforce Marketing Cloud and have a good grasp of both the platform and the tools inside of it. It is not necessarily a beginner's book. It has enough background information to help get you to where you need to be, but it's not intended to be a from the ground up sort of thing. It's comes in with the assumption of some existing knowledge of the platform. The purpose of the book is to help teach you how to work smarter, not harder, inside of Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and to get as much as possible out of the tools. Although it's not required, some development knowledge and skill is a plus to get the most out of this book. It is recommended that you have at least a year's experience in the platform, which, like I was saying, is a basic understanding of the related tools and technologies, and basic understanding of the languages and development capabilities. So the main focus that we have is not to give just practical examples and technical knowledge, but to also help give you the baseline and understanding to recognize, build, and implement scalable solutions on your own. References for technical subjects usually are very specific and focused on just practical usage, which we do have inside of there. But we wanted to go more into the theory and the why or the how more than just the what. So this is the first section. We're going to kind of go over general overviews of a couple of the sections inside of the book. This is the first section, which is automation theory and automations in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. This one is mostly about getting the basic initial concepts of what is an automation, what makes a good automation, that kind of stuff. It's really going over and setting that baseline for, as we go into details, you can know why that specific example or that specific rationale that we're putting out there is what we recommend and why that is. And the idea too is that it gives you that baseline to figure out things that aren't in the book. So like if you have something and what we're recommending in the book is not the right thing for your specific context, you are able to then have the baseline behind it to be able to figure out the way to manipulate that example into the best solution for you. This also includes details around the existing Marketing Cloud automation tools. It gives an overview of Automation Studio and Journey Builder. Now, I mean this as an overview. It doesn't go into, this specific activity does this or anything like that. It's more of just the general usage and the general ideas and best practices on the tools to help, again, give you that baseline as we dig in. And then, like I said, there is also the automation best practices with a major focus on things such as performance, efficiency, scalability, context, and preference. So wanted to give a couple quick examples from this section to help show some of the stuff that we go over. For instance, with the automation theory, which is on the right side. I know I'm going backwards. Usually you go left to right when you talk things through. I should have probably shifted the slide, but here we are. So automation theory, I'm going to read a quick snippet in relation to that diagram there. In some ways, automation theory is a self-feeding theory in that as each advancement happens, it will use that step as a building block to make further advances to larger and more significant feats. This means that before we dig into the exact meaning of what an automation is, we should look at the history of automation and automation theory over the years. This rich history is what built automation theory and capabilities that we know and love today, and will give great insight into the future of automation as well. And then we move to on the left side where it's talking about the circle of development. So basically what circle of development is the lifespan of a developer going from beginner to senior and then from senior to a brand new skill, because we all know once we master something, the next step is to begin something new. So here's a little snippet on that. This is saying that you, as a developer, go in a circle of complexity as you grow. You start at the basics in a super simple way, but as you grow, things become more and more complex until you start to become a more experienced developer. Then you can start reverting to finding the most linear and simplest solutions, again, to ensure elegance. This relates to automation, as you may find those crazy awesome scripts that you can use to do amazing things, but find that just using a native activity or two instead would be more elegant and effective. So then we go to the next section. Sorry, I know my voice is going. I apologize. Which is around the optimizing automation inside of Marketing Cloud. So this one has a few more chapters into it, and the focus is existing inside of the system. In that we first cover basic automation inside of probably the biggest area that people would look at is automating email sends. It covers the general basics as well as some more in-depth knowledge of best practices and consideration for automations there. With all this background under our belts, we should start exploring some real life scenarios to put the knowledge into practice. Then we also look at the automation of your ETL and data, which is really honestly the bread and butter of what automation is made for. We discuss what ETL is via the import, export, query activities, as well as filter activities and similar stuff for segmentation, data staging. And then we start to get a bit deeper into the great capabilities of things like, for instance, the magic of script activities. It takes the next step forward into developer level kind of solutioning. This goes outside of stuff that you can do mostly in platform and WYSIWYG and goes into more custom development type scenarios. It's a quick introduction to utilizing custom solutions using AMScript or server-side JavaScript inside of the script activities. Then we move to the power of in-step API, which is by and far one of my favorite things because there's so much power there. Even just WS proxy inside of your server-side JavaScript can open up so many doors, let alone getting into the SOAP and the REST API natively and the undocumented APIs. There's so much there that can take you above and beyond what you thought the platform was capable of. And then we round that out with the final chapter, which is about creating mini web apps, which basically introduces you to a more advanced API implementation and uses, where you'll be diving into advanced development solutions that essentially creates a mini web application inside of your automations. From there, move to a couple examples. So on the left side is a couple of my wonderful section titles on it with describing around what an array is, what an object is, and then adjacent. So I had to point out a few of the fun things I've heard over the years when people have asked me some questions about these things. Non-developers, thank God, because if they were developers and they asked these questions, I would be very worried. But the second part with batch or one-to-one messaging, that's one of the aspects we really dove into about automating email sends, because there's a lot of arguments for both sides of it. And it's really great opportunity, but it's a better opportunity to mix them. Being able to do one-to-one messages where you want, to send an individual to do a specific action that is unique to them, or send a unique message based on data. That's great. That's awesome. That's exactly what that's for. If you want to send something or you have a very specific message and you want to, broadly announce it, batch messaging is your thing. But if you do one-to-one batch messaging, you use this when you want to give a unique message to multiple subscribers based on data and preferences, but need them all to go out at the same time. It is more aligned to being used with scheduled automations, but is also very possible via real-time sends. All right. Now we move to Jason's section, where he's going to go over the optimizing the automation of Salesforce Marketing Cloud from external sources.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, as the title suggests, for this portion of the book, it's taking advantage of the opportunities for automation and integration with Salesforce Marketing Cloud from external sources. So we get started with a basic overview of what a custom integration is, sort of what that encompasses, some proper planning methods to help you understand basic toolkits related to custom integrations, some of the terminology, and really everything you need to kind of start getting familiar with the process of building out a custom integration that would interface with Marketing Cloud. And then we move on to explore Salesforce Marketing Cloud as a piece of the puzzle, which is really seeing it in a larger cloud services space. So we're going to dive into determining how to identify areas in your process for automation and how to structure your projects for success. And then we have SDKs, APIs, and specs. So here we're going to cover the standard Marketing Cloud SDKs, including both how to understand the existing functionality and how to extend the SDK, along with any benefits and maybe some pitfalls with using those. Also, we'll dive into the differences between different kinds of APIs, not only REST and SOAP APIs, but also GraphQL, which is becoming more popular in web service technologies, in addition to various different types of API types, such as open service or partner APIs, and creating your own API gateway. Then we'll take a look at webhooks and microservices, so covering exactly what a webhook is, how it differs from an API. In addition, a microservice architecture, so how to build an application and the differences between a microservice architecture and a monolithic architecture, what those words entail, and when each is the appropriate one to use. And then finally, we'll take a look at building a custom journey builder activity, highlighting the important files, how to host, design, develop, test, and execute sample activity within Marketing Cloud. You can go to the next slide, Greg. So the examples from this section, two of them, we have webhooks. So webhooks, occasionally referred to as web callbacks or reverse APIs, are a method that allow an app or service to send real-time data to another application whenever some event has occurred. So there are examples within Marketing Cloud that some of you might be familiar with, such as the event notification service, which allows you to create subscriptions to certain events in the platform. And you can set up a callback endpoint that would receive those notifications and then could take some further action. We have some live examples on how to do this within this chapter, but it's a helpful tool, I think, for really linking disparate systems, and certainly a much more efficient mode of communication for event-based notifications than something like continuous polling or making interval-based API calls. And then the next, we have custom journey builder activities. So you're all likely familiar with the standard suite of activities in Journey Builder, including custom journey builder activities. They really provide us with a great framework for integrating custom applications into the journey experience. In the book, we examine the framework for creating custom activities through project-based example, integrating Journey Builder with Cloud Page Code resource pages, analyzing the Postmonger event framework, as well as all the key files and configuration steps in the integration process. And so utilizing this chapter, you should be able to understand the process of creating and deploying your own custom Journey Builder activity. And then finally, we have some final insights from the book. So these are some topics that we touch on and have identified as maybe particularly important ideas to take away. And one of them is the first, always be documenting. So one of the keys to creating an efficient and sustainable solution is to ensure that you're regularly documenting your processes in a format that's digestible for any current or future members of the team. There is a cost, obviously, with documenting, right? It can slow down a time to delivery or a process, but it has a lot of benefits that can make up for that. By not documenting your process thoroughly, you incur additional costs and time and effort that when you're revisiting your solution, it requires additional time to unravel its meaning or purpose. And there might be, a key component that while it was common knowledge during the development cycle, is lost on future iterations. So really just having a digestible format that new members of the team can come to, but that you can also reference, is a critical component to having not only an efficient solution, but one that is sustainable over the long term and that you can iterate on in the future. Another is to keep it simple, right? While the level of complexity with the solution is going to differ based on the domain and the problem that you're intending to solve, and maybe even the technologies that you're using, simple and straightforward solutions should be the goal of any implementation. It can be satisfying to experiment with new technologies or processes or functionalities, but an important thought is it shouldn't come at the cost of creating convoluted solutions. For instance, we could construct a highly complex server-side JavaScript script to manipulate data at scale, but it would introduce many more points of failure and provide a much less efficient means than, I'd say, a simple SQL query would provide. And that's somewhat of a simplistic example, but really the strongest and most forward-facing solutions are the ones that act in the simplest and straightest path. So being mindful that you're not creating complexity for its own sake is certainly something to take away. And then finally, and more testing. Could probably add a few more testings in there for how important it is. No matter your experience in the platform, expert level or beginner, or how stable you consider your solution, without comprehensive and thorough testing, you're setting your solution up for failure. Regardless of what use case you're presented with, could be basic email development or a full-scale web application or data integration. You should be breaking down your processes into individual units that you can create tests for before you write a single line of code. And that is one of the guiding principles of test-driven development, is that we define test scenarios before crafting the solution. So you're addressing the what and the why before the how. And that allows you to have a clear definition of the desired state of a unit that can lead to both greater stability and faster development speed. It really can't be stressed enough how important it is to implement comprehensive testing practices and to stick to them before you start developing your solution. Your solutions and clients will thank you for it. Next slide. And finally, in conclusion, two thoughts. And one is to stay curious. While there are many themes and ideas in the book that are helpful and I think are important, I hope that when you read it, you come away with a sense of empowerment for finding new ways to utilize automation in your own processes, and that you feel equipped with the tools for further extending the platform's capabilities. Stay curious and continue to broaden your skill set beyond the content covered in the book, and you might be surprised at the new possibilities that you uncover. And lastly, stay connected. Right? Stay connected with the community and share your knowledge with others. When you're an active participant in the discussion around Marketing Cloud, you're not only increasing your own knowledge base, but you're raising the bar of the entire community by sharing that knowledge. And we highly recommend going out and doing so, if for no other reason than to get a different viewpoint and context on the Marketing Cloud and help you think outside the box from a perspective that you might not have gained otherwise. And with that,
so I probably
we've opened up. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Greg for battling through that, and Jason for.
There's just a little bit more. Sorry.
All right, not a problem. But just before you do go, we have opened up Q&A, so just feel anyone that wants to ask a question, feel very welcome to start typing questions into the Q&A.
For sure. So I do want to say that this is probably one of the greatest lines that's ever come out of any movie ever from Bill Paxton. So I had to include it at the end here. But before we got to questions, I wanted to bring up one last thing. We worked with our publishers, and we were able for this to be able to get a discount code for the book. So if you use the discount code of 25 SFMC on Amazon, you'll get 25% off. And that's live from today through the end of July. So yeah, the book is available. The URL is here to go directly to it. Otherwise, you can just search for Automating Salesforce Marketing Cloud and it will appear there. So yeah, that was the last little bit. I'll pass it back over to you, Matt.
Yeah, not a problem. And thank you so much for the offer of that code. I think I can talk for many, like been excited to read the book, and I don't think I've read everything in detail yet, but as I read through and started to pick through the book, I just found it easier to read, and the approach sort of felt very natural. And it's the sort of book I want to buy all my clients and just let them have a look at it and dig into it, because there's just so much of what we always talk about. You guys just mentioned unit testing, keeping things small, and it's just an important part of what we do. It's not actually written anywhere that it's what we should do, but it's what we need to be doing, and there are approaches to that. I think for me, and it's not so much a question, but a comment and feedback. It's foundational what you've got in the book. It sort of brings a collection of things together. We've got to look out all the time to find how we do things, and having a reference for doing those things in one place just helps, along with everything else that you, Greg, Jason, Adam, also Elliot, and everyone else that's provided that base that we can all learn from on Stack Exchange. It just makes such a difference being able to go do something. We haven't got any questions there yet, anyone, so please feel very welcome to put a question in there. Otherwise, we will wrap up early. One of the topics that I got a lot out of when reading the book was just the approach to the custom builder activity, and it's certainly something that it's a question that we've been asked to provide a workshop on as a group, a developer group. So we will step through what's in the book, in an upcoming event, and work through it just to build a custom journey builder activity, and use the book as a guide for that. So excited to be doing that soon. I can't see any questions there at this point, but Jason or Greg, did you have any questions or anything to add that bubbles up as people have asked you about the book?
I could probably share two last insights that I like to pass around, and they're kind of, in a way, almost contradictory, but I find them both to be very valuable when working in Marketing Cloud, especially around automation. One is that Salesforce Marketing Cloud is pretty much the Wild West of America, and that their rule is there are no rules. So what worked yesterday inside of a almost identical solution may not work today inside of your new solution. So you always have to be prepared that boilerplates, best practices, templates, all that are not the be all end all. Everything is going to be expected to be custom. And you should include that, basically plan for the plan to be thrown out the window. The second part that I always push is around the keep it simple. I actually put this directly in the book. This is probably almost an exact quote. As there's the saying KISS, which is usually keep it simple, stupid. I actually prefer another way that it's said, which is keep it straight and simple, with the idea of not just simplifying, but making it more linear, making it where it's the path of least resistance. It's the direct approach is the more important aspect of that message than just simple, because simple could be using less code, and sometimes less code can wind up being more processing. Whereas if you just kept that linear path, it may be bulkier, but it may actually run more efficiently. So like that's the kind of stuff to always keep in mind when building is you don't want to reduce necessarily. You want to make it easier. You want to make the path as straight as it can be.
And I guess if there were one thing I would add, something that certainly occurred to me while I was writing the book, is that obviously a portion of it is dedicated to external integrations in Marketing Cloud. Building data integrations or custom web applications that will interface with the platform and automate functionality. But I know for me personally, what I took out of writing that and what I hope people who read that section take out of it as well is it can inform the development practices that you use within the platform and kind of alter your understanding and perspective of the way that you do things, even if you're not necessarily integrating something from an external source. So, having that web application development, just knowledge and being curious about that section, even if it's maybe not something you can directly apply to your organization, it's still helpful, I think, can inform the way that you use the platform and the way that you think about solutioning in general. It's been certainly something that I've been excited to take away from this experience.
Thanks, guys. I can't see any questions there, so we might wrap up. We haven't got our presenters online. There must be a technical glitch there or something for help with standing up Marketing Cloud. What we'll do with that, else we'll break that into a special event sometime between now and next month, and run that as an additional event. And also remember to watch the recording from Marketing Cloud Moment. It is an awesome little piece that's been put together, and that will be good to sort of see. And look, thanks everyone for joining. Once again, thanks for Jason and Greg for um, for the presentation today. It's been great.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you everyone on the call. It's been our pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. All right. See you later, and look forward to catching up real soon. Don't forget, Salesforce Marketing Cloud Developer Group, sfmcdg.org. You'll find all the links there, all the recordings, all the links to all our groups. Thank you. Bye.